All right, down here at the bottom side of the map, a member of the team FXO, a Zerg player from Australia. He is known as
FXO T-Gun.
FXO T-Gun. Handsome Zerg. At the top part of the map, a member of the team NS Hosa. He is
NS Hosa Jakji.
Jakji. I like Jakji. He's really good, man.
Yeah, yeah.
He doesn't play like everything he's done has been just very textbook, but it's been a really good textbook. Skynet fighting.
So, T-Gun's is handled. Do you know any sort of history behind that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Say that again.
What's the meaning behind T-Gun's name?
Oh, the meaning behind his name. He actually told me. Oh, they've got a cheerful there.
Also fighting.
Yep. The meaning behind his name, he said that someone else had a very similar name, and then he told me it a long time ago, but he said that basically he was trying to copy someone else's name, and then it just kind of stuck.
Okay.
You can ask him again later. I don't know exactly what the other name was, but it's not a very interesting story. Basically, he just took someone else's name, and then he used it so much that it just became his name. That's what I was told.
Sounds interesting. So we are going to see that he's going to prepare for an expansion here. NS Hoso Jakji doesn't know where he is quite yet, so he's not going to be able to prevent that expansion. I'm sure he's going to assume that it's coming out here, though. Even if he doesn't, he is setting up a wall here, so he would be safe against any sort of early aggression from FXOpen.
This is true. He is going to make a command center off of just one barracks, it looks like. He may even make it on the outside on this map. Most likely, he's going to be able to scout. That T-Gun has gone for a hatch first. If he does see that before he makes the command center, he'll absolutely make it on the outside.
Yeah.
And this drone is not able to see whether or not he took gas. A smart move by Jakji to block him out. You see Terran's getting that earlier depot more and more. This wasn't really an early one, but sometimes you do see on smaller maps, Terrans get that earlier depot just to block the scouting, because all they want to see is whether or not you have gas. They want to take your gas and then cancel it so they can keep that drone alive in your base, stuff like that. Making that wall off prevents all of that kind of stuff.
And it does cost the Zerg player a little bit to do stuff like that, taking the gas and canceling, taking it and canceling. But the thing is that the amount of vision you get, the intel, is really, really valuable.
Yeah. And when this SCV came in, the second he saw that the hatchery was first, he made that command center on the outside. Absolutely a safe choice. Now he's taking both of his gases. Very, very textbook. TVZ, if you go for a one gas expand, you make those gases right after. This guy, he plays textbook, but he knows all the right moves, man. I like this guy.
It'll be interesting to see how he transitions in this game once he finds out exactly what tech T-Gun is going for. He does have the option to be aggressive like he was in the other game, or he can be extremely defensive.
SCV does get spotted here. He's going to take it out. Maybe. Should be able to take it back. Every time the SCV has to make a turn, the Zerglings will catch it.
There's actually a training map for that, to try to keep your micro up while multitasking other things. And just the more you work on it, the smoother you can make it, and the harder it is for the Zerglings to catch you.
Exactly. I think it was called the multitask trainer. I actually played it during the downtime after the beta.
When the servers kept going down.
Yep. And he does actually keep it alive using these Marines. Nice move. Now, T-Gun from here just has one gas mining. He may decide to take a very fast third base. Not necessarily going to be the case, though. He doesn't know exactly how many barracks are being made, and in fact, this is going to be a very mech style. 2 factories coming out here. He's doing what I like to call the Karn build, because Karn does it all the time. We always make fun of Karn because he never switched up his build. He was always going for mech. He's actually in the audience here. He's listening to me. He's like giving me this look like, shut up, Wolf. No, it's true, man. You got to change your build up every once in a while.
That is the thing, is the more you practice a single build, the better at it you're going to get, obviously. But the more you do it and your opponents see it, the more predictable you are, and it's easier for them to defend against it. Zorglings are trying to get in, but they don't actually see anything, unfortunately, for T-Gun. But he's going to assume exactly what's going on, that the fast expansion's there. There's really only strong mech that's going to be coming out, or a lot of bio units coming out, but he doesn't see the bio aggression quite yet, so he knows it's safe to take this third base that he's doing right now.
One thing you'll notice also, he's got a lot of larvae stacked up. He's got 4 larvae at his... Naturally, he had about 5 at his main as well. Now he just kind of waited again, made a few more drones. He likes to do this where he waits until he sees what's going on and then makes the larva, because he knows all the timings. There's a timing that would hit with about 4 barracks where he could get pressured right now. He wanted to just make sure absolutely that wasn't happening, so he didn't have to make a round of lings yet. just wants to make absolute sure before he makes the unit that he's making the right one.
Yeah, that's really smart. He's also doing a really good job of spreading this creep. He's getting those creep tumors out early, and then with that, he can just move forward and forward and forward.
This is huge. He may see this factory.
I don't think he's going to make it.
I don't think so either.
Take down this Overlord extremely quickly. He might get a glimpse. He sees the tech lab, but
that's all he saw. He only saw the tech lab. Now it can either mean Banshees, or it could mean this mech type of build.
Yep.
And to be honest, the kind of reaction to that is almost the same. Usually you get a fast Spire. Usually, you don't have to. If he goes very Thor heavy, you want to have the Roaches. The Hellions can be dealt with Mutas and a good SimCity. As you can see, those evolution chambers there, kind of helping block off. If he makes some good spines, he'll be fine against the Hellions. The Hellions are really there to control the map. They're not there to kill drones. You can kill drones if your opponent isn't prepared, but that's not really what they're for.
Well, you're forcing that extra defense up.
Exactly.
You want to make sure that your opponent does exactly what you want them to do, so that it's exactly like your practice games. You can also sometimes catch these creep tumors. He's not going to be able to do it here, but as you're saying, he's going to be able to kill some of these Zerglings, force the defense from T-Gun to come out. He's actually going to be able to get into the main here. This is going to be huge if he can get to the main mineral line and take out a lot of the drones. The drones are getting pulled. There are queens in the way, but these Hellions are really going to run by. All the drones are lining up. If the Hellions can get in position, they can do a lot of damage. T-Gun doing a great job of keeping them split, but a huge number go down right there. A lot of these drones are going to die before these Hellions are fully pushed out of the base.
And this is looking really bad for T-Gun. He actually lost so many drones. He's now down to just 29. The Speedlings will catch these Hellions, though. He's not going to kill any of the Hellions, or rather any of the Zerglings, or rather any of the drones at the natural. Sorry, so many things going on here.
But two more Hellions are going to come in here, or try to come in here. The Zerglings are going to be able to push it back smartly. They don't go for the kill immediately. They wait for some reinforcements before going in. They do end up dying. Some of these extra drones are going to go down as well. This is not looking good for T-Gun. He is actually doing a really, really nice job of microing these drones, keeping them away. Well, he was doing a good job. Keeping them away from the Hellions. You want to just make sure they don't get in a line. Constantly adjust them, try to make them unpredictable. But that's 50 workers killed.
No, it's 27 workers killed.
What?
That was 27 workers killed, 50 units killed in total.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, he still has 37 drones, not too bad. 45 SCVs out for Jakji. So Jakji in a really comfortable position, but if T-Gun can get in a safe position for a little while, he can really drone up hard with these 3 bases that he has right now.
Yeah, he's getting upgrades. The thing about this is, you can say, oh, well, he's only 3 drones down after losing all those drones. The thing is, during that, he just made only drones, and now he has no units to deal with this. And when this happens, a Terran will always move out, because he's forced, if you don't drone and you make units to defend this, he doesn't have to attack you, and then he has a huge economic lead. And if you attack, he just doesn't have enough units to hold, then you win. And, even though T-Gun's got a great creep spread, he's got decent upgrades already, he doesn't have a Baneling Nest. He's got an Infestation Pit. He's about to have 4 Infestors with energy. He timed it out perfectly, so these Infestors will have enough for a Fungal. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to hold this anyway, though.
Well, we do also have these scans coming from Jakji. He is going to be able to prevent this creep spread and push it back a lot. And as you were saying before, he doesn't need to go in and actually do any serious damage with this. He's just preventing the drones from coming out.
Exactly. Now, these tanks being repaired, that's a great move to bring these SCVs here. He's actually going to siege up on the cliff here. Yeah, he gets those tanks can fire on the creep on the other side without being surrounded by melee units.
He brought the SCVs there so he can keep those tanks alive as long as possible. He also has a medevac coming out. With that medevac, he has the option of attacking the third. He has the option of ferrying up to the main, or he can just go in a really strong force with his bio being supported by a medevac and just attack right in the front, depending on what he sees.
T-Gun researching 2-2 upgrades, getting that +2 melee attack. It's not going to be done for a while, but it's good. He's just going for it, going ahead and getting that upgrade. He's got more Infestors on the way. He's got Neural Parasites on the way, which is going to be very important in dealing with these siege tanks, because Infestors alone cannot deal with those siege tanks. This is really scary, though. Those Evolution Chambers are actually under siege now. He's going to want to fungal some of these Marines, but knows he's just being very patient. He's accepted the fact that he's going to have to lose these Evo Chambers. He's not going to try to save them. He just has to wait just a little bit longer. 24 Lings in production, 5 more Infestors on the way. He's waiting for that Neural Parasite. No, he's not. He's actually just going to go. Bungling a lot of these Marines, dropping some infested Terrans as well. Even the Queen's coming out to fight, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
If he can get this final tank, he is going to be in a pretty good position to be able to get another wave of units coming out here. Very nice fungal growth on those last units there. If you can take down the medevac, that is going to be huge. He's also killing most of these Marines here. Once the Marines go down, the tanks are going to be completely open. T-Gun doing an amazing job defending against this. It's not going to clean it up completely, but he did exactly what he needed to do in this position.
He used about 4 transfuses there to keep some of those units alive. Did a great job, but he's still in a tough spot. I didn't think he was going to be able to hold it at all, though.
Yeah, and actually Enes Hosso is feeling a lot of the pressure here and putting down bunkers to make sure that the few Marines he does have are going to stay alive a little bit longer, but not quite yet as these Infestors and Lings do come in. They fungal growth a lot of what he needs to. The tanks all go down. Once the tanks are done, oh, no, few reinforcements. But the tanks in the main battle are down. They're not going to be able to put on as much pressure to T-Gun as they were before. T-Gun's still getting a lot of links. He does have a little bit of breathing room to get some drones if he wanted to, but those bunkers are finishing, and he wants to try to take them down before they the tanks come back up to defend it.
Well, here's the thing. He doesn't really need drones yet. He needs a 4th base, and that's just not going to happen until these tanks go away, and I don't think they're going away. He's got bunkers here. He's got siege tanks behind him. He's even got medevacs out. And even though he has Neural Parasite, he doesn't have the time. He hasn't built up that energy. He needs to use the fungals. He's using all of his energy. He can't Neural Parasite. If he can Neural Parasite some of those tanks, he'd be in great shape, but I don't think he will. A little drop over here, going to take out this Overlord and may start pressuring some of T-Gun's units back so he can creep even further forward with those bunkers. Yeah, this actually will put T-Gun pretty close to supply block. Oh, and an Infestor going to get taken out. Nice fungal, though.
Yeah, this drop is going to get cleaned up and it's going to get forced back, but the thing is that it did give Jakshi the time to get even more bunkers in his front, move up with some of his siege tanks, have a really nice wall. It's very, very difficult to fight something like that. You also can't fungal growth the Marines that are inside the bunkers.
You know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see him, he can check with his Lings to see if there's vision of that high ground where the tanks are. If you put like 2 Infestors on the high ground and Neural Parasite those tanks and then ran forward, that would be sexy. And is he going to do it? Is T-Gun going to be my man? Is he just going to do what I said? I think he's going to do it. He's waiting for that energy. He does have enough now. He's going to do exactly what I said, I think, here. This is going to be so sick.
Yeah, and even before doing something like that, having those Infestors there, you can fungal growth on any sort of medevac that's going to try to do a drop. However, Jakshi looking like he put the pressure on the main that he wanted to is now going to go more for the 3rd. He's got a force that's going down there. It is going to get cleaned up nicely by Lings, forced back, but it's keeping T-Gun in a position where he's constantly feeling like he's going to get attacked from anywhere.
T-Gun, I think, could have had a macro hatchery. He's making as many units as he can, but he's always got like 800 minerals stored up. He's going to go. He fungals the tanks like I was talking about on the high ground, or rather neurals them. He's breaking down these bunkers, and actually this is looking really good for T-Gun. He's got a ton of Infestors here. The bunkers are falling to the siege tanks, and he's actually going to take out these bunkers. The energy does run out on those neurals. The scan goes down.
And a really nice Infest Terran being dropped as well. Try to absorb some of the extra shots from that siege tank. More Marines going down, but very, very nice fungals going here. The entire army of Jakshi is fungaled. There's not a whole lot of Lings to clean this up, but it's exactly what he needs to do. The medevacs are going down to fungals. The Marines are then getting cleaned up, and there's one extra Ling there that survived to tell the tale.
Like I was saying, that battle looked like it was going well for T-Gun, but the problem is he's 50 supply down. He doesn't have a 4th base. He's not taking one. He doesn't have the production he needs because he hasn't made a macro hatchery. He's always got a ton of minerals kind of banked up. He's making 36 Lings. He didn't have the 2-2 upgrades that he wanted because he lost those evolution chambers. He's getting a hive now off the 3 base that could work. I just don't know how effective it's really going to be.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a different timing for T-Gun. He is saving up a lot of his resources so he can transition that over to some of the tier 3 units that can really change the tide in this battle. If he were to get out Broodlords in a situation like this, that would be huge because he can keep them safe and really be able to push back a lot of this mech army from Jakshi. Meanwhile, he's just trying to stay alive as long as possible. He's doing a very, very nice job of using these fungals efficiently. He's also, every once in a while, throwing down an infested Terran right next to a clump of Terran units. Once he does that, the siege tank of the Terran units all fire on that position and do splash damage to their own team.
Exactly. Right now, the 4th base is up and running. It's a planetary fortress. I think, you know, as much as... Well, hold that thought. Here comes the attack. He neurals 2 of those siege tanks. Some great fungals on all those Marines. Is it enough, though? I don't know. I don't think so. The Infestors falling left and right here. The tanks taken out here, or rather the tanks have regained control of their mines. And all of the Zerglings do fall. T-Gun in a lot of trouble. He's down 60 supply. He's losing Overlords here. The tank's pushing into his natural. He just doesn't have any more units.
Yeah, these bio units are actually really, really highly upgraded. They're about to get 2-2, I believe.
He's at 2-1. He's about to have 2-2. The tanks have +1. He's about to have +2 attack on those as well. And this army, I don't even know if he can clean it up. The tank's killing almost everything. The drone's coming out here. T-Gun now at 1/3 of the supply of him. And GG well played with a smiley face.
Yeah, Jakshi doing exactly what he needed to. He was being extremely... he took the forward position, but not too far, and then he just defended it the entire time. If he messed up even one of those battles, T-Gun was doing an amazing job with holding on with the minimum number of units that he possibly could. But in the end, it just wasn't enough, and Jakji was able to take the third victory for NSOSO.
The bunkers were a great choice. Without the bunkers,
Yep.
you wouldn't have been able to hold that. I like that choice. T-Gun played a good game. I think having a macro hatchery would have helped because he always had about 800 minerals and 800 gas stored up during that fight that he wasn't able to use physically. He wasn't missing injects. He just didn't have enough larvae still.
Yeah.
And if he had one more macro hatchery, when he did that big push where he knurled from the high ground on the tanks, if he had done that with maybe 20 or 25 more lings and maybe a few more infestors, I think he would have maybe been able to break out. Then he would have taken a 4th base as he pressured his opponent, but he just wasn't able to. Great game, though, by both of these guys. T-Gun obviously looking a little bit frustrated. That's why Slog's in there, trying to cheer him up. But he played a great game, I have to say.
Yeah, it showed a lot of improvement from last week. I think with one more week of practice, he's going to do extremely well next week. Unfortunate for him, but it's good that he's constantly improving, and hopefully the next player from FXO is going to be able to show their improvement as well. Just constantly evolving their play and just getting better and better and better.
Well, they've got one more player left, so they're going to be their last choice. I'm not going to spoil it. But let's just talk about the choices here. We've got Slog, we've got Moonin,
Yep.
Munin, and QXC basically are the players that are left.
Okay. So a lot of different options there.
Yeah. Slog, obviously, his PvT is really good. We didn't really see that last week because he got nuked. You saw that he did a similar build to what Oz did, was able to macro up and catch up and was even winning a battle in a counterattack, then his entire army got nuked. I wasn't going to say that if he won that counterattack, he would have won the game necessarily, but he showed that he can come back from behind. He did a great job. His macro is incredible. Moonin's TVT is actually his worst matchup right now.
Okay.
That's a player that we won't likely see today. But QXC is a player where he's got a lot of different matchups that he's practiced on. He's very confident. He's a great player in all matchups, a very confident player, and it would make sense for him to be the anchor.
Yeah, QXC would be a good option here. Slog as well.
Yeah,
Even Moonin, like, maybe TVT is not his strongest, but if he can get past this Terran player from NSOSO, he'd be really strong for a lot of the other players that NSOSO would need to put out. This is still only the 5th game of the series. If FXO is able to clutch out a victory here, they still have 2 more games that they have to think about.
Yeah. So that's why picking Slog would be great for the Terran.
Yep.
But his other matchups are decent, but they're not as good as QXC's. And the Moonin, his TVT might not be able to get over that hump, but his other matches are decent. And who's it going to be? It's going to be QXC. You guys probably figured it out after what I told you guys, but he's a very, very solid player. He's practiced a ton in all the different matchups. He's specifically practiced different strategies on different maps.
Yeah, and we saw that Jakji has a really strong TVZ, TVP, but we can see if he's going to have strong TVT here as well.
We certainly will. And I got to say, those are a lot of results there, but QXC has played so much, and not only in outside of before he was in FXO, he did well, and he came here, he's done well here.
Yep.
His mentality and his training mentality is awesome. He loves to practice. He knows when to stop practicing. He knows when he's overworked himself. He's got a great mentality. You know who else has a great mentality is Optic Zero. He and Optic Zero actually practice together a lot. They talk to each other a lot. They're like best friends because they both just are so focused on practicing. Not to say the other players aren't, but they both come from the background of, even though they weren't living in a team house, they're living on like a team house schedule with their team. We're going to take a 2-minute break, guys, before we get back to this match, so we'll see you guys in 2 minutes.